With the recent news breaking involving John Klingberg, I thought it'd be an interesting topic here to revisit. You may remember we went over a previous disgruntled bunch of players last season that have all been, with the exception of one, dealt since. We'll be taking a look at each player's story, up to this point in time, why he wants to be traded, and the overall outlook for them moving forward. And with that, here are 4 more NHL players that want new teams. Similarly to another on this list, DeBrusk's name has been floating around amongst NHL trade talks for quite some time now. Due to formally asking for a trade in late November, the former first-round pick is going to be likely on the move prior to the trade deadline. Interestingly, DeBrusk, who has struggled for the latter part of his tenure with the B, actually appeared to be, at first anyways, the one pick of the 3 that the Bruins received in the first round of 2015 to have actually been amounting to something for the team. After being selected 14th overall by Boston, the forward in his first couple seasons as an NHLer appeared to be acclimating well, especially while playing alongside David Krejci. With an impressive 27-goal campaign on record for his sophomore season, the Bruins were confident that DeBrusk could be the solution that they needed on the left side of the second line. Unfortunately though, after being a solid net front presence on the power play for the B, DeBrusk, for season upon season at this point, has been floating around in the lineup without a solidified position. This, paired with the countless healthy scratch occasions and comments that head coach Bruce Cassidy has made publicly about DeBrusk's play, it's pretty apparent that the player-coach relationship in this case is strained at best. Currently, on the second and final year of his $7,350,000 contract, DeBrusk remains on the market waiting with anticipation to be, as the Dropkick Murphys say, shipped out of Boston. For most teams that have absorbed the entire situation, this is a player that is just now entering his prime years at 25 that has shown that he's fully capable of producing if he's put in the right situation and given the adequate playing time on the left side. Obviously, the go-to team to consider taking DeBrusk is Edmonton, and really, considering the state of their franchise at the present time, I'm sure Ken Holland is open to changes. After seeing Zach Hyman cool off offensively with 1 point in his past 5 games played, it would make sense if the Oil took a stab at landing the disgruntled forward. But besides his hometown as a solution, insider Frank Saravelli reported that 12 teams at one time were interested in DeBrusk's services. However, his pending RFA status could have something to do with why a team hasn't picked him up yet at this point in time. Last offseason was definitely full of drama. From the Chicago Blackhawks scandal to the Jack Eichel situation, there was tons of controversy to go around. And yet another headline that quickly gained traction was the news that longtime Blue Vladimir Tarasenko had requested a trade. Prior to the news breaking, there were also some indications that the former 16th overall pick was estranged from the club that drafted him. The biggest one being that Tarasenko's agent made it a point to let the media know, and more importantly management, through a statement, that Tarasenko was upset with the team since they chose to make Ryan O'Reilly captain instead of him. And this, on top of the fact that the Russian winger was upset with the way the team handled his shoulder surgeries, compiled to cause Tarasenko to seek greener pastures elsewhere. According to The Athletic's Jeremy Rutherford, the ligament damage in Tarasenko's shoulder wasn't adequately addressed, leading him to seek medical treatment elsewhere and also requiring another shoulder surgery in order to fix additional damages incurred. Currently, in the middle of his second to last season, on his 8-year, $60 million deal, Tarasenko could easily help jumpstart a team that's struggling to produce offensively. Averaging a point per game with 34 and 34 games played, number 91 has been busy boosting his value on the trade market. Also, according to Rutherford, despite having a no-trade clause, Tarasenko has indicated that he'd be more than willing to waive it to go to as many as 10 approved teams. Among them, reportedly, are the Capitals, Golden Knights, Flyers, Rangers, and Bruins, to name a few. For those that are interested in reading the full article, I'll be sure to provide a link below. Well, it's been a known fact for quite some time now that Klingberg and his team haven't been able to see eye to eye on the right contract amount. Many were blindsided with the news once it broke that the defenseman had formally requested a trade out of Dallas. Considered to be a gem that came out of the 5th round in 2010, Klingberg has spent the extent of his NHL career playing for the Stars. But since taking what many viewed to be a hometown discount for his last contract that was valued at 4.25 AAV, Klingberg has been holding firm to the amount that's reportedly greater than $6 or $7 million a year that Dallas has been offering. And really, one has to surmise that number 3 would eventually be the odd man out, as following the lucrative 8-year, $67 million deal given to Mara Heiskanen, followed shortly by yet another contract drawn up for Ryan Suter. For Klingberg, though, who has 52 points in his last 78 games played over the past 2 seasons, being a right shot who's a pending UFA is likely going to be rather difficult for contending teams to ignore. But for Dallas, who is on the outside looking in on the playoff race, they could choose to hang on to the defenseman until much closer to the deadline. Now, to only further support the theory that the 2015 draft was one of, if not the worst for Boston in recent years, here's yet another first-round pick here in Zach Senyshyn that wants out of Beantown. Reason being that according to Senyshyn, who said, quote, "I feel like I haven't been given that opportunity in the Bruins organization. The forward hasn't seen the amount of playing time that he'd hoped for with Boston." And really, looking at it from an outsider's perspective, knowing that he's only played 14 games for the B since being drafted, the request just might be the best way to go in his situation considering. Within those 14 contests that the forward has played in, he was able to record a single goal and a pair of assists. "I feel like my game has gotten to the level where I'm ready to play, and I'm ready to make an impact," Senyshyn revealed. "With the way the Bruins organization has been going, it doesn't seem like I'm in the mix." Regardless, for any team that may be interested, picking Senyshyn up and giving him a chance wouldn't be too costly, as he's only signed to a $750,000 contract that expires this offseason.